All right, Jaginoff. Nice to have you on the podcast. Thanks for joining.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Always good to see a fellow DMV Jags fan.
Yeah. So, what's been your regimen, for the during the coronavirus crisis? How you been hanging in there?
I've been all right. I'm still working. Luckily, anyway, I make money. It's been okay. So it hasn't affected me that yet. But I don't know. Just hopefully this whole thing is over soon because it's just really been ridiculous. I'm over it. Ready to get back to normal. Ready to get back to just being just normal life, bro. You know what I mean? How have you have been holding up?
Pretty good, man. I'm going stir crazy though, because I'm ready to watch some sports, and it might be kind of weird watching football with no fans in the stadium.
You tell me about it because I'm supposed to go to I'm supposed to go down to Jacksonville for the Miami game, and then I'm supposed to go to Lambeau for the Packers game. So I'm really hoping that's on good. And I'll probably end up in the Baltimore for the Ravens game since I live right down the street from the stadium.
Nice. So obviously you live in Baltimore. Being a Maryland resident myself, it's got to be a little bit weird being a Jaguars fan, considering we're surrounded by Redskin fans and Ravens fans. So, how did you become a Jags fan?
Well, basically, I'm 32, so basically, growing up in my household, everybody in my family was a fan of a different team. Like my father was a 49ers fan. My oldest brother is a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, and my other brother is a Detroit Lions fan, and my mother and sister at the time really didn't give a fuck. So I pretty much just kind of, and back at the time when I could just watching football as a kid, I was a fan of Steve Young, and I liked Randall Cunningham too, Brett Favre when they played, but when I could really, really understand the analytics of football and could really understand the game, the Jags had just became a team. And, I watched them. I remember watching, back in the day with Burnell, Natron Means even before Fred Taylor got there. I was pretty enamored with the Jags, and of course this is all before the Ravens were a team. So I was just like, what, I'm a Jags fan and just have stuck with it ever since. And, going to Jacksonville at least once a year, my love for the team, the city's been a big thing. And, that's just how it's been.
Yeah. And I noticed, I saw on your Instagram, you're wearing some Florida memorabilia as well. So are you a Gators fan?
I'm a diehard Gators fan.
Nice. Me too.
I'm not, and again, Fred Taylor's my favorite player of all time. I liked him in college too, and when he became a Jag, that was awesome. And then, most recently, I was a fan of Tebow and Percy Harvin. Was one of my favorite Gator players of all time. I like Brandon Spikes too. It's a really cool college to root for, and I'm glad they've gotten back to winning ways. I love Dan Mullen, and they're really becoming. Hopefully, we get back in the college football playoff soon.
Yeah, man. I was kind of bummed the Jags didn't draft LaMichael Pirine. I was hoping and praying.
Yeah, you know what though, I was iffy with him. I think he'd be a good complimentary back, but I don't know but I just don't see him being the guy. You know what I'm saying? And with everything going on with everything going on with Fournette, which is obviously stupid, but it's out there. So I kind of want somebody that not just a system back or a third down back, because before we drafted Fournette and when Maurice Jones-Drew winded down, that was basically all we had.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like the Jags kind of everybody jokes about it, right? That we love to draft Florida players. We got C.J. Henderson, and then we drafted, obviously, as you mentioned, Fred Taylor, but Taven Bryan. So it seems like Taven Bryan, right?
Yeah. That was such a fucking weird pick for me. Like, I don't know if you saw my reaction to that, but like, and for some reason that year I didn't watch much of the Gators just because like the Jags were really good and like I was more all enamored with them. Like, I barely knew who Taven Bryan was. Like, that's how bad it was.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting too because I feel like we drafted so many defensive tackles. So I'm like, what's going to happen with like Dontavius Russell and Taven Bryan? Where are they going to kind of fall into the mix? I was just kind of curious what your thoughts were on that.
That's tough because like I do think the transition to the 3-4 defense, I think that will help out Taven Bryan a lot because I think he's better suited for 3-4 defensive end. But I think with the contract coming up, like I think this has got to be like his last shot because I'm not gonna sit in here and say like he's been god awful, but he hasn't lived up to being a first round pick. There's flashes. There's obviously some talent and potential there, but it's like you gotta. This is where we gotta see it. Like we're putting you now in a defense that's better fitted for you. So if you have the opportunity to get a lot of playing time, this is where you got to show it. If that's it, and if it doesn't happen this year, I can't see him being around much longer.
Yeah, agreed. So going kind of in a different direction here, the Calais Campbell trade to the Ravens. I was very disappointed by it. Didn't like it. We got a measly 4th round pick for a guy who's been pretty much the anchor in Jacksonville, from a leadership perspective, and he's the mayor of Saxonville. What are your thoughts?
You said a 4th round pick. I wish we would have got that. We got a 5th round pick.
Oh, a 5th round pick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but oh my god, dude, that I don't know if you saw the reaction video I had to that, but that just made me absolutely sick because like my whole thing was in a way just because of how much money he was making and the fact he's getting up there in age, I get trading him, but the fact we could only get a 5th round pick there, that's honestly horrible. Like you could like I'd have bared with him what was he making, like 18, 19, something like that?
Yeah, around that.
I can't. Yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but with the other moves we made, there could have been other things we could have done for him to stay. Like I think after this year, he probably wouldn't have asked for too much, and then of course the icing on the cake, it had to be the fucking Ravens. But it's the whole trade sucks. Like that was probably the biggest disappointment of the entire offseason for me. Like even the AJ Boye trade, we had decent value for it. Since 2017, Boye's performance has kind of gone down, and like I think us drafting C.J. Henderson, I think, and with Jalen Ramsey being gone, that's what I call Jalen Ramsey. But with him being gone, I think maybe some change was needed with him, but just with the Calais Campbell, like somebody we could have used, somebody who's a veteran leader on the defense, and just to only get a 5th round pick was just kind of sickening.
Yeah, it feels like it was a steal for the Ravens, and just heartbreaking.
Well,
kind of, right?
Was.
Yeah, it was.
That?
I mean, it was kind of heartbreaking as well. I feel like because Calais was just such a presence in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and he's obviously somebody that wanted to be here and wanted to stay. So yeah, it sucks to get rid of somebody like that too. And like just the value for him, I just feel like that there should have been more there to pull the trigger. If you got like a 3rd or 4th, I could see it, but like a 5th, it's like, come on, bro, like that's horrible. You could have done something.
Yeah, and the thing that I thought was crazy is they could have restructured his deal. But I mean, they went ahead and restructured Andrew Norwell's deal. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Don't even get me started on that guy.
Yeah, yeah, he's.
Or do you want to? Whatever you want to talk
No, it's okay. We'll go somewhere else. But yeah, on another note, Yannick Ngakoue. Do you think he's actually gonna?
yeah.
Yeah, I know. You actually think
I
you
think
actually
this
think he's
one,
gonna play this season, or what?
man, this is a tough subject for me because, like, I actually have a Yannick Ngakoue story. Like, it was 2018, I believe, after the Steelers game. Actually, I caught him as he was leaving, and I told him he was about to bypass fans, and I told him I was from Maryland, and he stopped immediately and signed my like he was like, look, I got to be real quick. I'm catching a play with my mom. It's like, bro, I appreciate it. You're my favorite player, and which actually is true. And his jersey right now is signed on my wall to this day, and like I it's tough because like I want him to stay, but just the way he's acted like on Twitter, it's just nauseating. Because like you kind of you kind of see it from guys like you could look and tell like, oh, this guy's gonna be a prick. Like Ramsey, I almost knew immediately when we drafted him something like what happened would happen, but with Jan, I really didn't expect it, and just I'm over, like, at this point now, I'm over the whole situation. I would love for him to come back, but I just don't, but, unfortunately, I don't see him ever playing here again just because I think he's just burned too many bridges. I don't know if he even want to change that, but, that's going to be up to him, but, I don't know how much of his pride is going to let him walk away from 18 or 19 million dollars. I think it's 19 million on the franchise tag, but whatever he's getting, because that's the biggest amount of money he's ever seen in his life. It's just a matter of how far is his pride going to let him walk away from that. But just the way it's looking, I'm not going to be surprised if we don't ever see Yannick Ngakoue again. And it sucks because I love what the guy does on the field.
So, do you think he'll play? Like he'll just play out this year and then bye bye, or?
I think it's tough to say because, like I said, it's just a matter of if his pride can really let him walk away from $18 million. Like, unfortunately, I think what's going to happen is he's going to sit out till the trade deadline, and then somebody's going to get desperate and trade him. Like, that's honestly what I see happening because I don't see him trying to repair anything, him trying to accept or repair anything that's been done with the Jags. But it just sucks. But yeah, I don't ever see him playing here again.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think with the draft and Kayvon Chasen, from LSU, we could pretty much assume that he's Yannick Ngakoue's replacement.
Well, actually, if you really think about it, Josh Allen was Yannick Ngakoue's replacement. Kayvon Chasen basically Calais Campbell's replacement, and now that they're moving to the 3-4, it fits both of those players better. So honestly, like, I watched a little bit of Maryland football before Jan was drafted, but like I don't know their system really well. Like I don't know where and how Jan would even fit in a 3-4 defense. But like I'm sure, if he played, there'd be a way to use him. But at the same time, it's like, I think the team's pretty much moved on from him because he doesn't want, because like, he's made it clear he doesn't want to come back. It's just a matter of, it's really on him at this point.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. So, since the Jags didn't go ahead and re-up Fournette's 5th-year option, there's been kind of a lot of drama and talk about that and how Fournette, may not be back again. You had a good video on it, and I agreed with your opinion. That happens a lot. 5th-year options are, often not renewed. But there's been a lot of like Fournette hate out there, like people hating on Fournette, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Now, I get the perspective I do get from it. Okay, yeah, at the time, at the time, we were committed to Blake Bortles, and we obviously needed a running game. And but looking back on it now, of course, it's easy for us to play hindsight and sit here and say, okay, we should have took Watson or Mahomes. But at the same, and I'd agree with that completely. But at the same time, we couldn't predict the future back then with Bortles. But what's done is done, and it's not like Fournette's a bum. Like, the guy just had the best year of his career. The guy is a consistently good running back. Is he a top 5 running back? It's arguable, but probably not. Is he a top 10? Absolutely. And is it so I just don't see how people are like, oh, get rid of him. It's like, wait a minute. Do you ever remember what it was like before he got here when we're watching TJ Yeldon, Denard Robinson, Chris Ivory, and Toby Gerhart run the fucking ball? It's like, dude, it's like, I just don't see why anybody, like fans or front office, want this guy to leave. Now, you brought up the opinion of the fact of the 5th-year option not being picked up, but the thing is with that, some of those are actually ridiculous amounts of money. Like, I believe I know Bortles was $19 million. I'm not sure what Fournette would have been, but since they're a draft position behind each other, probably would have been somewhere around that. So I think so. Yeah, like, I'm hoping that after this year something gets done with him, because I don't want to lose Fournette. And like I said, even though you can go back and change the draft, and what's done is done, and Fournette's a good running back, so I want to keep him around.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, man. And the thing I don't understand is, like, they're like, some people are saying that we need a more versatile back. I mean, this guy Fournette put up great numbers in what I considered a bad system, right? John DeFilippo is notoriously known for not running the football, and
Sure.
And you have Fournette, lining up as in the slot and as a wide receiver, and just did a lot of things, he wasn't used to. And it did. I mean, he had 522 yards receiving this season.
Yeah, 70 catches.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and people are saying he's not a versatile back. I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Right. It's like 1,600 all-purpose yards. It's like, bums don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I just don't understand. So people that say that, like, I just don't understand. What more do you want from the guy? But one thing I do agree on is that, like, putting the offense too much around him is kind of a mistake. Like, letting him run as much as he did. But this is where I think the hiring of Jay Gruden was a very good hire, and bringing in Chris Thompson was a very good hire, because I think Fournette is going to benefit a lot from having a spell back and having somebody that can catch balls out of the backfield. So that signing makes sense, and Jay Gruden, loves to use 2 running backs. So I think Fournette, if nothing else, will at least get through the season pretty healthy with that signing and the change of coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, we can kind of assume that Thompson is like TJ Yeldon, right? When Nate Hackett was here,
right?
Yeldon was I would say a receptions back as well. He could run the ball as well, but
yeah. And if you go back to Gruden's days at Cincinnati, he had like, I think I said this in a video, but he said Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard. Fournette's probably going to be his Jeremy Hill, and Chris Thompson's going to be basically his version of Giovanni Bernard, which makes a lot of sense because Thompson is that kind of back.
Yeah, agreed. So, the Jags have a pretty brutal schedule coming up this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see them going, 6-10 or potentially having a losing season. What are your thoughts on Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell, and Todd Wash? Do you think they'll be here next season?
It's tough to say, because Todd Wash, especially, should have been fucking on this year. And it's honestly tough to say what Shad Khan's going to do because he likes to preach that he has stability. But like, it's for stability have had two losing seasons in a row, so that's not good. So I Doug Marrone, I think needs to at least go 8-8 to keep his job. Todd Wash really should. I don't even know what to say with him. Like the guy should have been going this year, honestly.
Yeah.
But and Dave Caldwell. My thing with him is he's done horrible decisions, but then he's made great decisions. Like I call him the most bipolar GM I've ever seen in my life. But it's just if I think for other than the Calais Campbell trade, other than that, I think he's had what he's done. He's had a very productive offseason. I think he had a very good draft, and it's tough to say with him. I'd say he probably is going to be back as far as Marrone and Wash. I'd say for them to keep their jobs, they gotta they really got to show some improvement on this team. Like we got to do better than 6-10, and really we have talent to do it.
Yeah, I believe we can do better. With Gardner Minshew and Fournette and just a lot of the draft picks. What was it, Laviska Shenault at wide receiver? I think that'll be interesting to watch.
I really appreciate Laviska Shenault. Like I love that pick. Like that guy is. The guy's a tank that plays wide receiver. I love that pick. Both receivers actually. The other guy, Colin Johnson, he was I'm not sure if you heard of this or not, but he was actually projected to be a top 50 pick last year if he would have came out, but he went back for a senior season and got hurt. So with his size, production is definitely there. He can easily transition into a pretty good red zone target, and actually could surprise a lot of people. So I think with everything that we did in the draft, I think we had a very productive draft. Like we hit the needs we needed to. Besides, maybe a little bit heavier offensive line.
Yeah, I really wish we had gone for Mekhi Becton. I thought we were going to be way more aggressive, with trading up in the draft and maybe going after Hurts at 42, to hedge at the quarterback position in case Minshew, we found out he didn't pan out, which is still a possibility. So I was a little, I don't know, I would say I was a little underwhelmed, but, I'm not saying it was all bad, but
the thing was, I didn't want to draft a quarterback just because, Minshew's going into his second year, and, putting somebody around him that could potentially, has no experience and can take his job, it's like, what message are you sending to the guy? Like, that's why I was more for signing Andy Dalton at the time to get a good veteran backup to, at least right the ship in case Minshew does fall apart. But, the one thing I am kind of disappointed we didn't do is try to get another. Like you said, Lamega Perine probably would have been a good third down back. So I am kind of disappointed we didn't get any running back out of this draft just in case any of the Fournette talk is true. But other than honestly too, the first round was kind of a disappointment because I really wanted Derek Brown.
Right. Yeah.
But to your point with Becton, I actually do like him. I think the Jets got a really good left tackle there.
Yeah, I felt like he could have been our next Tony Baselli potentially, just with how coachable he looked and his size. I mean, he's going to have to lose some weight, but I was like, wow, this guy could be like a stud left tackle, but
Oh, yeah, he's an animal. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Stay safe during the coronavirus crisis.
Yeah. But before we go, one thing I want to touch on. Can I touch on something else before we leave?
Sure.
Okay. I would like to say to all of your viewers, if you are for this tank for Trevor Lawrence crap, do not subscribe to my videos. Do not subscribe to my videos. Do not watch my channel. Do not have anything to do with me because I'm all for Minshew. I hope the guy does well. I think he really can do well, but like the people like spreading this tank for Trevor Lawrence garbage is just ridiculous to me because I think we honestly can surprise people with what we have.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that right now because I'm wearing my my Minshew jersey.
Oh, you got one too?
Yeah, I got a Minshew jersey. Yeah, so man, I'm 100% on board. I don't understand that, like the tank for Trevor thing. I think it's completely ridiculous.
I don't understand the whole media's perception with Minshew. It's like this guy had arguably the best season of any of the rookie quarterbacks. Like you could make an argument between him, Murray, and Daniel Jones of which one was the best. Like the guy won more games than any of them. Like I just don't get why it's so hard for people to accept that this guy might actually be a pretty damn good quarterback because look, I'm like everybody else. When we drafted him, I saw the jorts, I saw the mustache, I saw his antics. It's like, what the hell is this guy? But now that he's been here, now that he plays good, and the team rallies behind him, it's like, we got something here, and wouldn't it be good? And a quarterback is the hardest thing to find. So like the fact that you want this guy to fail just so we can draft potential again is just, I don't know, it's just retarded to me, honestly.
Yeah, it's just I don't understand why he gets so much hate, and he played very well for not having any experience, and
any experience or expectations.
Yeah, and with a pretty crappy offensive line, in my opinion.
Exactly.
So I thought he did pretty well with what he had, but it just seems like the Jaguars continually they get overlooked. So it is what it is.
I'm used to it. Look at the whole defensive rookie of the year season. There's no way Josh Allen should have not won that award.
Yeah, he should have got it. No questions.
Yeah.
But,
and it's nothing to say, and it's nothing against Nick Bosa, but like, I mean, come on, the guy had more. Your job as a defensive end is to get sacks, and Josh Allen had more.
Yeah.
let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel you, man. But
yeah.
Well, hey, man, thanks again for doing this. I appreciate it. Keep putting out great stuff, and we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to do it again.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, man.